welcome to your darling station, the Living Television. We are back again on your favorite program, Issues of the Moment. Issues of the Moment comes to you from the staple of the Living Television, where we discuss issues as it affects our country. And as usual, we have wonderful analysts who are professionals in their various endeavors in life, who are going to look at the issues. Today, we'll be looking at, as it trends in the social media, concerning the final results that has proved that Peter Obi has scored more votes, more than was allocated to him by INEC. We are going to look at that, and also the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, and he has also accepted the fact that this election was sabotaged. He also promised to deal with, or rather punish, all the officers who are directly involved. We are going to look at this. Atiku Abubakar, Dino Melaye, and some PDP members protested yesterday in Abuja. They promised to continue today. There's many more we'll be looking into today. From my far list, in analyst list, I have Barrister Chukwuemeka Wogo. Barrister Chukwuemeka Wogo is a practicing lawyer, is a security consultant, and also a public affairs analyst. Barrister, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, moderator, and good day, viewers.
After him, I have a comrade, Nnamdi Lekwachi. Comrade Nnamdi Lekwachi is a historian, not just a historian, he's also a political affairs analyst who deals with deaths. And comrade, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me join you. Good day, our viewers.
All right, today I'm going to start with you, Barrister. INEC chairman, you know, the result had been announced, and then like you always rightly said, because with what is happening now, it means actually this was, do I say allotment or allocation of the numbers. And then the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has admitted that the presidential and the National Assembly elections was sabotaged. He has also promised to ensure that those who are directly involved will be dealt with. But Nigerians are worried. Having announced this, what about the already announced result and the winner, announced? How will the people deal with that?
Well, I am in a way justified because the INEC chairman has finally come out to confess his failure and gross ineptitude at handling the affairs of this nation entrusted into the care of INEC. It is sad that this is the position, and like the Igbos will say, Awa akufela akufe. The snake has already passed. The mischief has already been perpetrated, and he is coming out now to confess. The Electoral Act provided the procedure for conduct of elections, provided for electronic transmission of votes, and also foisted on the returning officer a duty to compare the results manually returned and the ones submitted to it through electronic means on its server, and ensure that where there is a disparity, that resolution will be taken regarding the matter. It is sad that while the INEC chairman, who purported to act as the returning officer, who was also purporting to collect results but failed to discharge the duties of that office, while he was doing so, the agents of the different political parties, especially the opposition, serially drew his attention to the provisions of the law, requiring him to take a decision to review certain things, certain materials already submitted, especially in the light of the disparity already discovered. but he decided to pretend not to be aware or not to be bothered and went ahead until the mischief he intended had been achieved. Having now achieved that mischief, he is now telling us that the perpetrators will be dealt with. I would like us to.
Yeah, we'll come to that, Council. We'll come to.
Well, because I want to say that.
Yes, we'll come to that because it is important that our viewers will also know, what has happened, and in situations like that, if there is a provision of the law, that talks about that. So I'll come to you, comrade. Yeah, you haven't said that. Amen. In our Igbo parlance, when you talk about a professor, that is a man. In our literal definition of a professor, we say he's a man that knows little about everything, but knows everything about a particular thing. That is to say, a professor is a man that should live above board. He has openly accepted that these presidential and National Assembly elections that it was sabotaged.
Yes, I expected that earlier, before now. I expected that before now, actually, but it did come now. That is also a pronouncement, especially on those who are celebrating over their victory. You understand? It's also a pronouncement over the result of INEC itself, or the results we are seeing. And from what we are even hearing, the social media rumors, and even from the grapevine, and even partly from some official sources, that the results are now automatically uploading to the IREF, and that there were serious discrepancies being seen now, to the extent that one of the candidates said to have lost the election was actually, in fact, could have been the winner. Understand that he won more number of states allocated to him, more number of votes also allocated to him. It speaks to something. But I want to say this, you see, INEC did not just break the Nigerian Constitution or the Electoral Act. It also broke its own functions, its own powers. The Electoral Act and the Constitution empowered INEC to make laws for the conduct of election. People should not be misled nor misguided, and I want to say this here. The Electoral Act and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, both empowered INEC to make laws for the purpose of what election. And this is why in every election cycle, INEC comes up with what you call guidelines. Those guidelines are law. Let us call it what it is, you understand? The Electoral Act, the Constitution cannot have the time to begin to tell you how elections are to be conducted, how people are going to file in a queue, how pregnant woman is going to be given priority or attention, or how physically challenged persons, you understand, are going to be. The law may not contemplate these things, but it is in the guidelines you see this thing. And one of the things in the guideline is that the result shall be transmitted through the beavers at the same time, you understand? So why would INEC issue such a guideline and then break it? That means INEC has also, in fact, ipso facto, INEC has also violated both the Electoral Act and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, even the powers given to it to conduct election. That is the meaning. Now, if you look at that, to me, that apology, I do not know whether it is timely or whether it is just coming at a time when, to me, I don't know. But what I have to say is that it should be a shameful thing that INEC collected 305 billion naira for the purpose of this election alone, deployed 117 billion naira for technology or for technological innovations, where they said they have 22 innovations, beavers, IREF, portals through which political parties submitted their forms. Candidates submitted their credentials. Now, you could not even use the same platform to do what? To transmit results. That's a failure. Compare today with 30 years ago, 1993, under Humphrey Nwosu, option A4. We spent less. People just came out, fired. We spent less under option A4. There was no such cumbersome processes like beavers and what have you. We spent less and achieved transparent, credible election. But today, 30 years after, look at the mess INEC has made. And the worst is that public confidence has eroded. You understand? So to me, what INEC has done is to kill confidence of, you see, if you are somebody who is familiar or conversant with the social media, you just open your Facebook, your Twitter, you see that even football matches, people are now using, after Manchester United lost 7-0 to Liverpool, our citizens are now rewriting results, writing 8-7, go to court if you are not happy. That shows something.
All right.
And again, please, before you go now, see, INEC cannot be trusted. It's my own personal opinion, and I will take it back. Why? Because if you're telling us you are going to punish the offenders, those who compromise the process, what has INEC done when its official loved a tweet by Shehu Kuti against Peter Obi? INEC did not do anything. Has the commission punished that person who was handling their social media platforms? No, I'm not sure. I'm not convinced that INEC will punish anybody. This is just grandstanding. It's just window dressing.
All right. Before we go ahead, I thank you for reminding us of Humphrey Wosu, the option A4,
yes.
Man. That was the amount of money spent.
Yes.
Then you can compare it with
what we are spending.
Yes, we have
even proven to fund elections.
A credible election, even then. All right, Council. It is important for us to know: is there any constitutional provision concerning what has happened when the INEC fell, either the INEC, the personnel, or those who are directly involved, and what is the position of the law?
Well, there are several provisions of the law. In addition to the guidelines, which may not have the force of law in terms of specifying punitive sanctions for breach, the Electoral Act itself has provided those sanctions and with the force of law. If you look at the provisions of section 64, subsection 9 of the Electoral Act, I would read: a returning officer or collation officer, as the case may be, commits an offense if he or she intentionally collates or announces a false result and is liable on conviction to a fine of 5 million naira or imprisonment for a term of at least 3 years or both. Now, the INEC chairman functioned as a returning officer. For purposes of final collation, return, and declaration of results, he was a returning officer. That being the case, where he intentionally declared a false result, then he has fallen foul of this particular provision. I expect that the INEC chairman should have resigned before now, made himself available to the security agencies for proper profiling and prosecution. And I expect that whichever court he would be arraigned before would exact the maximum punishment allowable, which is that first he should pay us, the Nigerian state, the sum of 5 million naira, and thereafter proceed to prison for 3 years, at least to serve as a deterrent to others. This was a man who predicated the announcement and declaration of a person as winner, contrary to the provisions of the law. The Electoral Act required electronic transmission of results, and then required him, as the returning officer, to compare between what was returned from the field by his own officers with what the agents of the political parties returned, with the copies made available to security agencies, and then compared with what was sent electronically. Even when these agents raised objections as required by law, he refused to take a stand on them and rather chose to hide under go to court, which is now the catchphrase in vogue.
Yeah.
Man, you lost, Comrade said that, man, you lost 7-0 rather to Liverpool, and somebody adjusted it to
8-7.
to 10, you know, just added one figure like the Nigerian politicians would do. Added one before the 0 to make it 10-8 in favor of Man U, and they told Chelsea to go to court. That's the abysmal level to which we have been reduced. Serially, in the Electoral Act, several provisions that the chairman of INEC breached, and he is busy threatening who? Who is he threatening? When he has confessed failure, not just negligence, not just recklessness, because negligence has to do with inadvertence. But in this one was deliberate misrepresentation of facts. Your attention was drawn to it. Now, as at yesterday, being Monday, results were still being uploaded.
Automatically uploading themselves.
To the INEC server and website. Meanwhile, somebody has been returned. The question now, naturally, commonsensical, and only question will be, on the basis of which result then was whosoever declared winner? Because the results are still coming in. You have to wait till the results will come in to such an extent that, assuming whatever is remaining and outstanding is yet to come in, even if they all come in and you give to the person who is coming second, it cannot change the gap between the first and the second. It is only at that point. And we are now being told that even the person that's the Labour candidate, Labour Party candidate, got 19 votes. Invariably, percent from 19 states, and that's the highest. Invariably, it means that we have an inchoate election, we have an inchoate result, and a winner cannot be declared. A winner cannot be declared. I've said something about the 25% from 2/3 of 36 states and FCT, and I have given my view earlier that we are actually dealing with 37 states. Even if you decide to read it to be 36 states, that means that the minimum allowable would be 1, highest number of votes cast in total. Second, 25% from 24 states. That's the barest minimum anybody can get. And yet, the man who didn't even score, you left the man who scored highest, that's 19 states, to go and declare some other person. And you are telling us you are going to punish who? The first punishment ought to go to the INEC chairman. The first punishment, I repeat, this is my personal view, and it is in accordance with Section 64, Sub 9 of the Electoral Act. The first punishment ought to go to the INEC chairman. The first victim, the first casualty should be the INEC chairman. He should first be punished, he should resign, make himself available to the police and the DSS. Then they will take him and arraign him.
Council, you are sounding so embittered this morning.
Of course, on behalf of the Nigerian people, you don't call our people. See what happened on Saturday. We were beaten by rain, we were beaten by sun, we queued up for hours, the materials didn't come on time, we persevered, we waited patiently, no security was provided, and yet, we didn't have any problem because the people chose to speak, and we spoke our mind. And somebody will just sit somewhere because he's privileged and go contrary to the provisions of the law.
Okay, Council, Comrade.
I have every reason to be embittered.
It's all right. Comrade,
after having
now that
so much
this man has confessed, now that he has confessed that this election was sabotaged and a winner had already been announced, and results and many more results are still coming up. Don't you think that this the winner will be reversed?
I think he himself did not use that window of reversing. like Council did say, there is a provision for review. I think Dino Belayo called his attention to that fact. He agreed there at the National Coalition Center that he would be reviewing the results. Did he review the results? He did not. And that was also the last promise he broke. After telling Nigerians, according to Dino Belayo, who captured him, you understand, said he told Nigerians 68 times that results would be electronically transmitted. And then that Festus Okoye did the same for 108 times, telling Nigerians that results will be electronically transmitted. You see, what are we going to tell our youth? 39% of whom were first-time voters, who participated, who came back from universities, who came back from various places just to participate in this exercise. People came back from Lagos. Some came back from the United States of America, some Europe. So what INEC chairman has only done is to kill the confidence an electoral umpire should have. You understand? And this should also, going forward, let me say it here now. Many Nigerians do not know. INEC is part of the presidency.
Yes.
It is part of the presidency.
that is no, but he's right.
INEC is part of the presidency. Until we have a neutral umpire. See, the people we are talking about punishing, before your employment with INEC, you are administered oath of neutrality. You take that oath of neutrality, that you will not be biased, that you will not be partial. But look at them. All of them were involved. From the rack centers. Why would we have problem across the nation with these beavers? Whereas each rack center has a rack tech. That's a rack technician. Somebody whose duty it is to operate the beavers. Why do we have such problems? Like I have said before, INEC should also be investigated, thoroughly audited by independent body, because you cannot collect 305 billion naira at a time like this, money borrowed to deploy 117 billion naira of it to technology, and then have this abysmal failure. My own worry is this, that what we have only done is to kill the confidence of the young people who for the first time took this country seriously, came out in their number, braved the odds, were beaten by rain, smitten by sun, yet they stayed, endured, cast the ballot. Then only to see that even the polling center where we voted from had another result. Now it's reflecting something otherwise. If at all the results are still dropping as we speak now, you understand, or are still uploading to the IRF, it's a serious pronouncement, an indictment on INEC. And I have to say this, you see, it does appear that the commission or its technicians did not know much about the beavers. Maybe some component of it that were done abroad. They not know much about them. They may not know that even if you try to shut the system down, definitely the thing will automatically upload. And that is what we are seeing now. Right. So I think it is now the duty of the court, and the onus lies on the court to look at all the pleas, all the prayers and submissions of the aggrieved parties, and look at evidence tendered before it to pronounce a judgment that reflects the will of the people of Nigeria. That is the only way to restore dignity. If not, the commission itself may lose sympathy and goodwill. Just look at what EU is saying, what America is saying. You see, they cannot stand here on our soil and pronounce our election failure. They went back to their bases and started releasing and filling out their own results. All of them condemned this election.
All right, Council, you know, this is our country, Nigeria, and then Mahmoud is the chairman of the umpire, this electoral umpire. And now with what has happened now, and it's coming out openly to accept the fact that this election was sabotaged, and also a win already, announced. What is the hope of Nigerians and the common man, especially when the comrade talked about 35% of the first-time voters? What will be their, what do you think will be their, take as it stands now?
It does not lie in his mouth to just confess that they failed and then expect that all of us will pretend as if nothing happened and continue moving business as usual. No. To show the only way he can assuage our feelings and demonstrate that he is not part of whatever has gone wrong is by having recourse to the provisions of Section 65, subsection 2.
Subsection 2 that says.
Let me start from the proviso to section 65 sub 1. If you permit, I can even go the entire hub so that we will put it in. It's short, don't worry. It's short.
Yeah, if it's short.
Section 65 sub 1. The decision of the returning officer shall be final on any question arising from or relating to A, unmarked ballot paper, B, rejected ballot paper, and C, declaration of scores of candidates and the return of a candidate. Declaration of scores of candidates and the return of a candidate. Now, the proviso, provided that the commission shall have the power within 7 days to review the declaration and return, where the commission determines that the said declaration and return was not made voluntarily or was made contrary to the provisions of the law. The return he made is contrary to the provisions of the law, regulations, and guidelines and manual for the election. So even the Electoral Act itself factored in using guidelines and manual.
Okay, I think that's
so the commission which he is heading,
yes,
as returning officer, his decision is final. As chairman of INEC, because he was wearing 2 uniforms or 2 caps, as chairman of INEC, he should now convene the commission and make available to them whatever information, the basis on which he is now confessing his failure to us. Tell his colleagues, the other commissioners, and now get all of them acting in concert and together as the commission to now review it. And if they come to the conclusion, as I expect that they would if they do the proper thing, that a winner was declared contrary to the provisions of the law, now act in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution.
okay. Shortly before we go on break, comrade, talking about what has been announced, and we know the Nigerian factor, and having done this, and then at times it looks as if even the judges and with due respect to counsel, even the judges, it looks as if they are under the payroll of the powers that be.
Yes.
And that is why they don't obey certain rules. And now, if this
Who
man
does not obey the rules? Sorry.
Huh?
The judges do not obey the rules.
Not the
The
judges,
powers that
I mean
be do not obey the rules.
Yes, the
Okay.
powers that be.
Well, do not.
Most of them, they
yes.
don't.
They said most of them they
Most
don't
of them,
obey.
they
Yes.
don't.
Do not forget
We have
that
we have 2 examples here.
the duty
Yes.
of the court
Yes.
is to interpret.
Yes.
Do not get.
Okay.
It is like expecting our legislators to start tarring roads and everything. I've always stood against that one. That is not the job of a legislator. So when you expect the court,
we are talking about the powers that be.
He's talking about
Even when the law is interpreted, it
Yes.
is meant to be obeyed.
I agree.
So
But
that's
do
what
not
we're talking about.
hold, there's a limit to which you can hold the judiciary responsible. You don't hold the judiciary responsible for the disobedience.
No, we can't hold them responsible.
Yes.
We're only talking about this power that-
Interpretation, yes.
Yes.
When
I
they
think-
go wrong in interpretation, it is their fault.
I think
Right.
I have this to say. You see, if you, because I have done a lot with this INEC. There is no yes. There is no election report I don't have.
Let's
I have
look
the
at
2021.
Are you sure you didn't?
I have the 2021 election
Comrade,
report.
what did you do during the last election?
Yes, I have the 2021 election report, the 2015 election report, the 2011 election report, and I can tell you something. Powers that be don't respect the law. The law says that these political parties must be audited. They must submit audited account to INEC. None of them, in fact, when they talk about election expenses or election financing, they don't do this. The PDP and the APC have never done this. They don't do it. You understand? And that is also what flagrant disrespect or abuse of the law. It is clear. But I want to also remind you that we are, and I'm trying to say it, we are seriously under a bad regime with respect to the judiciary. As it has to do with the judiciary. If we have a system where, if you had listened to the interview that he granted at CNN, he said clearly he doesn't believe in the judiciary any longer. A system where you have somebody who didn't participate in the primary being declared as the actual candidate to have emerged in the same primary. A system where you have somebody who came distant fourth, declared as the winner of the election, other things considered. it has made Nigerians to lose confidence in the judiciary. And I'm coming again, see, if you read the report, that was why I was just saying I have done a lot with INEC. If you read the report of 2019 election, where did EU start? I'm talking about EU report. EU started from faulting the president who removed the Chief Justice of the Federation by 2018. That was the basis EU stood on to condemn that election, to say that election was not actually free, fair, and transparent. They said prior to the election, Chief Justice of the Federation was removed because the president and the presidency understood or felt or perceived that he could stand in their way to electoral success. You understand? Today, people we are saying, in fact, there are rumors from the grapevine sources, from grapevine and other sources, that this same Chief Justice of the Federation had actually congratulated the so-called that they were whining and marrying. You understand? Now, where does that leave the average Nigerian? So, if at all we have a situation like this at hand, the moral burden lies on the court, and I pray they exhibit for once their moral capital.
All right, our wonderful viewers, I'm sure you're listening, and I'm also sure you're enjoying our analysis as it concerns the 2023 presidential and the National Assembly elections, and I'm sure you've been following the trends. We are going to go on a very short break. When we come back, we are going to look at the trendings in the social media, and also Atiku Abubakar, Dino Melaya, and co who are protesting in Abuja even as we speak. We'll be back. Just don't go away. Keep watching Living TV. You're still there watching your darling station, the Living Television, still your favorite program, Issues of the Moment. Today we are discussing the General 2023 February 25th General Election, and then I'm sure you've been keen in listening to our analysts, people who are experienced as far as the current affairs of this country is concerned. Having said that, we are going to shift a little bit to the trending issues in the social media, in as I'm coming to you, comrade, in as much as almost all 90% of Nigerians believe and agree with what you're discussing here, that this election was not free, nor fair, nor credible. And then the INEC chairman has also come up to also accept, yes, that it was sabotaged. Now, recently in the social media, they said the results are coming up. And the council mentioned it here that about 19 states, has been credited to OB, and 8 to APC, and then 7 to PDP, and 2 to NNPP, that is Kwankwaso, and so on. With that, do you think this has any effect with what we are discussing as it concerns this 2023 general election?
Yes, I think it has a serious bearing on what we are discussing, because we are discussing the credibility, the process of the election. And I say you cannot credit a product when the process of that product is questionable. You understand? It means that you cannot actually, in real time, even congratulate someone who has won through foundings. So that is the understanding people like Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, and other challengers. I have said before here that this is the in 1993. Let me talk back again. We had an election that was not even conclusive. The results were being declared until the announcement happened. There was no pronouncement to the effect that one of the candidates of the two parties had actually won. But the acclaimed winner was congratulated by the acclaimed loser. Tofa congratulated. No, it's not funny. I'm talking about that just 30 years ago. Yes. I am a historian. He congratulated Abiola, who even won in his state. He called him and said congratulations, meaning there will be no basis for litigation. There will be no basis for
even when they then
yes,
cannot pronounce.
Then neck.
Then neck, yes.
Neck, not even INEC, neck.
It also happened with President Jonathan.
Yes.
Under Jega,
declaration.
Jonathan congratulated Jega before the pronouncement that Jega was a winner. Even when Orubebe was exhibiting puerile attitude, you understand, at the declaration center, Jonathan congratulated. Yes. Now, if people, the frontline runners like Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, Omoyele Sowore, and the rest have come out to say they are condemning this election, it means something.
Even the international
community, and I have said here before, they said the process of the election is questionable. Look at EU. Look at what Tata Mbeki said. Look at what even America said, that why they congratulate Bola Ahmed Tinubu for emerging winner, that Nigeria must make sure they interrogate the process that produced Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And that's what I'm saying. Peter Obi even made a statement. He said, you cannot answer your excellency when the process through which you arrive is not excellent. So to me, I think, and this is my personal opinion, that the process of the election of 2023, in fact, council just buttressed my point here. You see, we now realize that, like I said, that the guidelines to an extent is a law. The INEC should also make laws. The Constitution has said INEC should make laws for election, and they come to the guideline. Why would INEC issue a guideline and go against its own guideline?
All right, Council. By what the chairman of INEC has declared, that this election was sabotaged, can we go by these social media reports of results that is now trending in the social media?
He also fails to tell us who sabotaged. On my own, based on his conduct before the
No, he's blaming the INEC officers, some of the officials who won, because he said
of which he is one. He is an INEC official.
Yes.
For God's sake, the chairman of INEC is the official in chief. The buck stops at his table. If there is any malfeasance or non-feasance on the part of INEC staff, he is the official in chief, he is the staff in chief, he is the number one staff. We should begin to interrogate his own conduct. And we have done so. We have weighed him and found him wanting. The honorable thing for him to do, first, I have said so, is to resign. After his resignation, he would on his own get up and go to the nearest police station or DSS office, walk in and submit himself to the officer in charge. That is the honorable thing for him to do.
Not in Nigeria.
Except where he now takes quick refuge under the provisions of the law, convenes the commission to review what he did as returning officer.
I said that window has passed. I think it's for 7 days.
No, today.
The election happened.
No, not from the election, from the declaration.
From the declaration.
Yes,
okay.
It's not from the day the declaration was made. It was made on Wednesday last week. Today is they have till tomorrow. Even today, you should do it today. It will go a long way to assuage the feelings of the people. What are we saying? If he is telling us we will do this, we will do that, let it start from himself. He shouldn't be telling us anything other than getting right what on his watch went wrong. The only way he can show us that he is not part of it. If he does this today, be rest assured that this man will go down in history as a hero. Otherwise, he will be recorded in the annals of history. Thank God we have a historian here.
Yes, I think people.
The section created for infamy.
Yes,
infamous.
Not section. It's a volume.
That's
volume created for infamy.
That is where
I was still trying to understand or even forgive somebody like Morisiwu of 2007, whose election President Omar Musa said was flawed, for which we came about the process. Okay, the UWES committee was set up. Morisiwu conducted the election. We all agreed was in fact a shambolic election. But now this man has actually, you know what he has done? He has canonized Morisiwu to be a saint. He who is now a saint.
When you do a comparative analysis,
he who is a
saint
compared to this man.
All right, before we go, let us look at Atiku finally for today. Atiku Abubakar, Melaye, and the likes of the PDPs are protesting. They protested yesterday. They said they were going to continue today. I don't know about today, but yesterday, yes, I think can we have a look at that on the screen? Atiku's protests and
clarity that the thing no go well. Say the thing no sweet them for their belly at all. Now why the PDP carry this we no go gree waka come INEC office for Nigeria capital Abuja. Then wait here for some time because security people stand up for the gate of Independent National Electoral Commission. Security people stand up for the gate, so they no fit enter inside. Talk person for the PDP now been their power until 2015 before APC collect power from them, and the PDP since that 2015 down from chairman of INEC, which is upon Dusu.
PDP, we no go green, we no go green. Atiku don win, we no go green. We no go green, we no go green. Hey, we no go green. We no go green, oh, we no go green. Atiku don win, we no go green. We no go green, oh, we no go green. Atiku don win.
So that we no go agree. That is to say, just like we've been talking here, they are not accepting that result. They are not accepting the winner as proclaimed by INEC and so on. Do you think what they are doing? Let me also start with you, comrade. Do you think this protest will have anything to do with the already announced result?
Council has already said the only thing that can actually reverse the damage done on the public confidence Nigerians repose in INEC is to review this result from now to tomorrow. The protest itself is beautiful. People have right to protest. Under Chapter 4 of our Constitution, 1999 Constitution, people have right to freedom of assembly, that is to assemble, then freedom of expression of opinion, to express their opinion. Whether you are angry, whether you are happy, you have to ventilate. You just have to pour it out. What is not accommodated or what is not actually contemplated in the law is destructive or let me say violent protest. But as far as the protest is peaceful, it is okay. People have right to hold INEC. INEC is an institution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria created by law, so it has to show accountability. And what I'm saying that henceforth, INEC should be audited every kobo. You understand? Pertaining to election, because it is serious. We are borrowing to do election. Many countries in Africa cannot spend up to 305 billion naira
even
as their budget,
annual budget.
As their annual budget. Yet we are using that alone to do election. When we are borrowing, you understand? It is not inclusive also of the 40 billion naira subvention INET gets annually. It's not inclusive of other goodwill. The United Nations, the EU, they invest millions here to train Nigerians to work with INEC.
So you are indirectly saying that INEC has no right to mess up?
INEC has no right to mess up. You have no reason. They should be held accountable. In fact, the people there should actually peacefully assemble before the INEC, and he sees that this man talks to them. He is hired and is being paid with our taxes.
Instead, he had the gut to come out and say that his life was being
threatened.
Yes. And people advise him to go to court. People advise him to go to court.
That was
also
the
join in advising.
advice.
You see, honestly, there is a twist to the entire thing. I thought we would have had more time to get to it. There is a twist, and it is very painful. We are now between the devil and the deep blue sea. This man has come out to admit that there was sabotage. Yes. I don't want to use the expression that they were sabotaged. No, that there was sabotage, because deep within me, I have places where I feel, and the sabotage may have come from, including his own table. But that is going by his conduct. Now, while we are questioning the conduct of this election, he advised the opposition to go to court. They have gone to court. And as part of their right to prosecute their case, they have asked the court for permission to inspect the materials used. It is their right. Strangely, by yesterday, INEC now went to court to stop them from having access to those materials.
Yeah, asking court to allow.
Now you are faced with two situations available. According to INEC, which of course I do not believe, is that they need to reconfigure the beavers machines for Saturday's election. If you go by their statement, the position of INEC, which I have said is suspect, and I do not believe it, it simply means that we are not going to use the beavers machines on Saturday. And I have said on my own, nobody should bring any useless beavers machine near my polling station on Saturday, because clearly INEC is not going by the rules of engagement which itself created. INEC made some rules of engagement and deliberately flouted those rules of engagement. So it means we are not going by that. Now, if we now insist that we will use the beavers machines, that means that INEC has to reconfigure them. And once that is done, material evidence on which the opposition, both Labour, PDP, NNPP, and so on, are relying on to prosecute their case will be destroyed.
That's it.
It is akin to somebody having a material on a flash drive. He brings it and says, call up this information from this flash drive, and you say, no, I have to first format it. Once that flash drive is formatted, that is the end.
The information is gone.
So I am tracking a particular piece of information. I don't know how reliable it is, but just some minutes ago, that the court gave a ruling stopping INEC from tampering with the beavers machines. That I agree is, remember I said I'm not vouching for this,
yes,
but if that is what the court has done, I am happy.
I want to support.
I am very, very happy.
And it's very important I say this.
While you're supporting him, before we go for today, I will also want you to now talking about Atiku Abubakar and so on, and from both the trending news and the social media and so on, it looks as if Obi is almost the person. Now, with what Atiku is doing, what is the place of Atiku in this matter?
Yes, Atiku's place is that he is the actual winner, as not declared by INEC. You understand? Each of them believe they are the winner. Although we are seeing evidences, these things coming up now are evidences. But I want to say something in support to lend more credence. I said I do not know if any other person interfaced with INEC than I did in the course of this election. Civil society platforms, I was there. Media chats, I was there. We took time to ask them questions. And I want to say this. INEC told us, and this later proved to be a serious lie, a big lie, that the beavers machine, when under working condition, could last for 3 days to 4 days, meaning it can run election for 3 days. But we also that the same INEC officials now told us that the beavers machine was down People had to go to their houses, bring power generator sets to power and charge the beavers machine. It did not stop there. INEC said again that the beavers machine works dual mode, offline and online. But what we are seeing now is that the result that were uploaded offline, which the commission may, and those who are compromising or trying to undercut the processes of this election, may have tried to tamper with, are now automatically uploading themselves to the beavers. But INEC did never say to us that after the presidential election they will need to reconfigure the beavers. What they told us was that beavers is automatic. Even it will upload, the beavers will upload to the IRF and it will remain there for years to come as evidence and what you may call exhibit before the court of law. Unfortunately, INEC is saying this today. That means INEC is lying. They did not tell us. We asked them serious questions. They did not tell us that they will need to reconfigure. They said everything done will transmit in real time and it will remain there. It will even remain in the cloud. But then I would also say the aggrieved parties, even Atiku and Obi, they should also be able to know data analysts and then system experts who can actually harvest these things. You understand? Even if INEC is trying to mess up, there must be a way. The truth.
All right, Council, going by what you mentioned here, though you are not too certain about it, you said you can vouch for it.
Immediately, yes, because I just stumbled on that report some minutes ago.
Okay, and
yes,
if INEC insists on tampering with these beavers, thereby destroying evidence that would have been very, very useful in the court of law, what happens?
That will not be the end. I can assure you, just like Comrade said, that they already have even what they are looking for. The only thing is that you must make, in accordance with the provisions of the law, make an official request to get the official version. Place it down and then show by your own evidence, because when you are disputing a particular result, the courts have crystallized the position that if you're saying a particular result declared is either a forgery or not the authentic one, you have a duty to place before the court two sets of results. The one you said this is not it, which is the official one, the one that you must obtain from INEC. And then the one you are insisting is the correct one, which is the one that you already have. I can assure you that the opposition, they have only one set at the moment, which is their own. They already have what they need. They even had it by the time collation was going on. These have been returned. Each of them built its own
situation room.
Yes, situation room. They had their own server. They had their own website and everything. They had even their own private clouds. So they already have what they need. But in addition, they must now get the official position before they can now begin to demonstrate during the hearing that we have two sets of results in accordance with the law.
And I think to even add a little more, you see, if you say beavers is relegating from easy 8, if you say beavers is also relegating incidents form, you understand that there will no longer be the use of incident form. Incidents form will use to be an exhibit to tender before the court. It has also made beavers an exhibit. It must be tendered, including scientifically tested forensic analysis, because all these are allowed, because you have to substantiate and validate your position or your case or your argument. So it means if you are trying to clean up the beavers, it means there is something behind the scene Nigerians are wanting to know. So to me, if that news is reliable, I want to say thank you to the court. See, it will be better we get justice established in this particular case, you understand, than we are allowed to
otherwise tomorrow,
because tomorrow
INEC will do
worse. Now see, and I am not happy that certain persons, including former presidents, are going to talk to aggrieved parties. That is nonsense. That is not how to treat democracy.
All right, we are talking about democracy. They just concluded February 25th presidential and national assembly election. That's exactly what we're talking about here. There is no Nigerian that has not seen what played out, and I know that we have the court has the final say, because most of them have been advised to go to court if they agree. Yeah. And that's where we are waiting. And this is where we'll be drawing the curtain for today. From my far left is Barrister Chukwuemeka Nwogu. Barrister Chukwuemeka Nwogu, what is your party word today?
Well, let's continue to remain peaceful. It wouldn't be nice for people to hide under the guise of protesting. They now infiltrate, or hoodlums, infiltrate protests and begin to smash things. The things that you will be smashing will still be the property, private property of your fellow citizens. So let us keep a cool head, allow the court to play out the thing. I want to concede. I believe that the protest of yesterday may have been triggered by the move by INEC to stop the aggrieved parties from having access to its records, and the parties now started protesting. So if the proper thing is done, maybe the protest could be stemmed.
All right, Comrade Nnamdi Elebachi, your party word?
Okay, my party short is simple. Let cooler heads prevail, and let us also insist on doing the right thing. Justice must not just be served, more be seen to have been served, understand, and established, so that the aggrieved parties, understand, we have something to fall back to. Thank you.
All right, wonderful viewers, that's the much we're going to take for today. And you already know who your analyst are, Barrister Chukwuemeka Nwogu. Barrister, we're happy to have you today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, sir, and goodbye, viewers.
And Comrade Nnamdi Elebachi, we're glad having you here today.
Thank you so much. It's always my pleasure.
And this is your command, Chinedum Adiele. Keep watching Living TV. Remember, tomorrow we'll be coming up again with Nigeria Today. Nigeria Today is another wonderful current affairs program of the Living Television. So be there tomorrow. Keep watching the rest of our programs today and keep a date with us tomorrow. At the same time, tomorrow 11. Goodbye.